Hey, welcome to our explainer. If you're in the public sector, you know that your next career move is about so much more than just a new job title. It's about your entire legal status. So today, we're going to decode 3 key administrative options that can literally define your whole professional path.
So let's say you're thinking about a change. Maybe for a new challenge or to work on some special project. But do you really know the legal tools you have to make that happen? Because this is way more than just paperwork. Trust me, choosing the wrong option can mess with your salary, your seniority, and even your chance to ever go back to your old job.
Okay, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll introduce the 3 main situations. Then we'll dive deep into each one. The permanent, all-in move of a transfer, the temporary mission you get with a secondment, and the super interesting unwritten rule of placement. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a side-by-side comparison so you can see exactly how they stack up.
Now, these 3 terms might just sound like a bunch of complicated government jargon, right? But they're actually 3 completely different pathways for your career. And figuring out which one to choose, well, that's absolutely key to managing your professional life like a pro. So here are our 3 big players: transfer, secondment, and placement at disposal. Let's kick things off with the one that represents the biggest, most permanent commitments you can make: the transfer. First up, the transfer. I want you to think of this as the most final, most definitive move you can possibly make. It's a clean break, a totally permanent shift from one world to another. And the official definition doesn't pull any punches. It's a radical and permanent change. It's kind of like moving to a brand new country and becoming a full citizen. It's not just you who moves. Your entire professional DNA, your official administrative file, goes right along with you, and it's not coming back. And the finality of this move is, well, it's pretty striking. You are now completely subordinate to your new employer. All ties to your old job are totally, completely severed. There's no looking back. From that moment on, your whole career path, all your rights, and all your duties are defined by this new administration. But here's a really crucial detail. A transfer isn't always your idea. Yeah, you might request one for your own personal or professional reasons, but the administration can also make it compulsory if they need to meet a public service need. The destination is the same, but who's in the driver's seat can definitely change. Okay, now let's switch gears and look at our second status, which paints a very, very different picture. If a transfer is like moving out for good, a secondment is more like going on a temporary assignment with a safety net. And this right here is the absolute game changer. A secondment is temporary. You go and work in a new place, but, and this is huge, you hold on to all your rights back at your home base. We're talking promotion, seniority, retirement benefits, everything. You never really leave.
So the whole point here is that with a secondment, the goal is always to return home. It's for a fixed amount of time, though it's often renewable. And get this, while your new post is the one paying your salary, your career advancement, your actual promotion track, is still moving right along back at your original job. It is literally the definition of having a foot in 2 different worlds.
And now for the most unique situation of them all. This one, placement at disposal, is in a category all its own. Why? Because it's not really defined by law, but by practice.
This is where it gets really fascinating. This status wasn't actually created by any law, it just sort of emerged from custom, from the practical ways that different administrations figured out how to work together and share people over time. And because this whole thing isn't written down in the law, key details, like how long it lasts, are totally unspecified. It really just comes down to a handshake agreement between 2 institutions. And that creates a level of flexibility that the other 2 options just can't touch.
Gray area is probably the perfect way to describe it. This status is built entirely on trust and mutual understanding. You're simply placed at the disposal of another administration for a period of time that they both agree on. It's all about the relationship, not about what's written in a rulebook.
All right, so we've looked at all 3 of them on their own. Now, let's do what we promised and bring it all together. We'll put them side by side so the differences become crystal clear. Okay, this chart right here is where it all clicks. Let's just walk through it. First off, the legal basis. Transfer and secondment, they're written right into the law. That gives you formal certainty. Placement, though, that's based on custom. It's way more flexible, but also less formal. Now, duration. A transfer is permanent, a one-way ticket. A secondment is temporary, with a clear end date. But a placement, the length is just whatever the 2 sides agree on. And maybe the most important question,
what happens to your original job? With a transfer, it's gone. Poof, severed forever. But with both secondment and placement, you keep that connection, you keep your safety net. Which brings us to the key takeaway for each. A transfer is a clean break. A secondment is a temporary mission. And a placement is a flexible custom arrangement.
So, there you have it, 3 totally distinct paths. You've got the permanent break when you need a total career reset. You've got the temporary mission with a safety net when you want to gain new skills. And you've got the flexible arrangement built on trust for those unique, short-term projects. Each one is a different tool for a different job.
And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. As you navigate your own career path, what do you value more? The solid, predictable certainty that comes from the law, or the creative flexibility that comes from custom and mutual trust? Your answer to that question will probably tell you which of these paths is the right one for your next big